Of course, there's a lot of tensions. A loss in the first test match as Shubman Gill being captain with 5 centuries. Everyone is looking at the test match like as if it's one of the most important sporting events, and well, it is right now. Hello and welcome to one of the most controversial honor highs that I have provided you, of course, right here on 94.3 Radio 1's YouTube page. Well, before I start anything, go like, share and subscribe, because we don't see anyone doing that and we need that. We want that. Lot of effort goes into this. We're talking about the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. It has been fights galore, and let's start off with the first test match. Of course, there's a lot of tensions. Rohit and Kohli have retired. Shubman Gill, the new captain, lots to prove. And now we have a loss in the first test match as Shubman Gill being captain with 5 centuries. Emotions are running high. Second test match comes around and then Shubman Gill scores 400 runs in one test match. This leads to India winning, and of course now it's 1-1. Everyone is looking at the test match like as if it's one of the most important sporting events, and well, it is right now. Ben Stokes having something to prove because the young new captain has come and won his first game against him in the second test match alone. Moving to the third test match is where the fights begin. Now, the third test match saw Shubman Gill going up to Zach Crawley and really giving it to him for wasting time. Now, I believe he was completely in his right to do that, and everyone in the Indian team was furious because he definitely was taking his own sweet time, and we had a few overs to bowl out there, opportunities to get wickets, which later translated into a really heartbreaking loss. The third test match turned out to be a 22-run loss for India, where Siraj just hit that defence, the ball slowly rolling onto that stump and the pail falling off. These images are just not going to go from my head. But then came the fight that we all know is where the domino effect began from. Now the fourth test match saw a lot of drama. We had a very difficult game from the jaws of defeat has been pulled out by 3 centurions and a 90 by KL Rahul. These centurions were 2 spinners in the form of Washington Sundar and Ravindra Jadeja. Jadeja having 950s in England, more than AB de Villiers, Hashim Amla, Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni, you name these players and he's crossed all of them. Some of the greatest in England don't have the stats that this guy does. And well, they were on 89 and 80 individually when Ben Stokes went up and tried to shake Ravindra Jadeja's hand, asking for a draw, and Jaddu immediately refused because he didn't understand what the handshake meant. He thought it was just a very normal handshake, but Stokes didn't want 100 for either of those players, and this is unsportsmanlike to say the least, because Ben Stokes is someone who has major respect in India, and not just India, everywhere in the world. He's the guy who's pulled off miracles time and time again with the World Cup 2019, with Edgbaston, his unbelievable knock against Australia in the Ashes, all these things that will go down in the history books. But then he comes and does this. He goes and shows that England are just being England at the end of the day. And I feel like the colonial fever hasn't worn off completely. Indians being treated not so well, because that was what led to the 5th test match then becoming such a big spectacle. The test match hasn't begun, by the way, guys, and we already have Gautam Gambhir fighting with the head curator of the pitch of the Oval. The Oval is where the 5th test match will be taking place, and now the drama will unfold. We had a fight, a very heated argument between Gautam Gambhir and the curator of this pitch. He went up and told Gautam Gambhir to stay slightly away from the pitch because he was wearing rubber spikes apparently, and he told them to stay in a 2.5 meter radius or away from the ground. Now we have pictures surfacing of Brendan McCullum standing on that exact same ground with the exact same curator on the pitch 48 hours before a game. And this is of course a couple of years ago, but it just shows exactly what is happening. There's a clear bias out here. We have Indians being treated very differently from the English and any other country, I'm assuming, because this is the first time ever in the history of cricket and the history of our batting coach that he has ever seen something like that happen. A curator coming and asking you to step away from the ground you're supposed to observe, learn, study, and then go and make a team according to that. Understanding the conditions is one of the most imperative parts of the game, and he's taking that away from our very own India. I guess they're scared that we're going to make it 2-all because the momentum is with us, and Gautam Gambhir is completely right in his ranks to make sure that he gives it back to him. Every Indian out there who's watching this, who's making memes about this, I feel like you need to put your differences aside and stand together, because Gautam Gambhir, for once in this situation at least, I am completely in agreement with him, and the Indian team was right to get cheesed off. They had an ice box in the main square of the ground, and you make that an issue. I'm sorry, but everyone, all 1.2 billion people are going to be coming for you. And England, you better be wary, because without Ben Stokes, I think it's going to be a very big uphill battle for you to win the 5th Test match. This is your boy Rohan on a high. I just gave you one of the most controversial Test match series ever. Started off with, of course, Zach Crawley and Shubman Gill. Then went on to the handshake incident, is what I call it, between Ben Stokes, Jaddu and Washington Sundar. And now, before the 5th Test match has a ball bowled, we already have enormous controversies between the curators, Gautam Gambhir, the Indian media, and all of that brought to you right here on a High. You are on 94.3 Radio 1's YouTube page. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, go like, share, subscribe, and make sure you realize how much effort we put into this so that you can give us some love.
94.3 One World, your station. Radio 1.